And so, what I get a chance to share in Memoirs of a Queen, From the Bricks to the Throne of Self, is the voice of not just myself, but the voice of many little girls across the world who have been exposed to long periods of trauma, ranging from poverty to heartbreaks to sexual molestation. And for me, sexual molestation began very early. I was 6 years old. And what did that teach me, right? From 6 years old until about maybe 13 years old, what did that teach me? And so the wisdom from the throne, which is a beautiful section in Memoirs of a Queen, is the wisdom that I extracted from these different experiences. We're not giving anyone a pass, but it's so essential. In order for us to turn our pain into passion, we have to be willing to open to the wisdom of our experiences. Otherwise, they would keep us stuck. And so, some of the wisdom that I had to bring within myself to allow me to overcome and shift out of that old story, because it is a story, it's my experience. I can never forget it, but what I can do is turn it into something very beautiful and magical. And that is the reason why Memoirs of a Queen was birthed. And so when we talk about a child who has been molested, if it was one time or 50 times, it sends a message to that individual that they have no power. You literally cut their voice off from being able to speak. And many people, especially me in my situation, and I talk about how my voice was cut off at a very early age just by manipulation of the predators, right? You go through your life now until you reclaim your voice, hiding your voice. And so how do you now regain your voice, right? How do you now be able to speak up for yourself? How do you now be able to speak boundaries to people who otherwise you would feel like you couldn't speak boundaries with, right? And so that is why a lot of us suffer even in adulthood, because we feel like since a child you was not able to speak up for yourself, especially because the world tells us you have to be respectful to adults. And so a child who is being told by an adult to keep a secret, they're going to keep the secret because an adult told them to. There is an authoritative figure that's telling them to do something or not do something. We're all taught to obey the voice of the adult, which is proper, right? The flip side to that, and very unfortunate side to that, is when we say these things, when we tell a child that you are supposed to respect the voice and direction and guidance and instruction of adults, that's what they're going to do. There also have to be a caveat to that, right? To teach your children that when you are being harmed, and help them to understand what harm actually feels like and what it actually looks like, so that they are not disregarding their intuitive abilities to say, this doesn't feel right, and I have to go speak up for myself, right? And so you take that and you bring it into your adulthood. So when someone is mistreating you, right, rather it's another person, an authoritative figure. Sometimes people have been manipulated by their bosses in their workplace. Sometimes people have been manipulated by intimate partners. Sometimes people have been manipulated by parents, etc. And so you go through this life of manipulation because your voice have been cut off. You don't even know how to speak up for yourself. And so how do you regain your voice after you've been told not to say something for so long? For me, it took practice, and that is essentially how you move from out of anything that kept you from being free. is that it takes you to make a decision that you are going to be free, right? It takes you making a decision to practice moving from out of that old paradigm into the new paradigm that you wish for yourself. And sometimes people don't even know what they wish for themselves. And that's when you call in a certain support system, rather it's a spiritual guide, a mentor, a coach, a therapist, etc.